Hello, I'm Steve. Welcome to the Patio Heat channel, where we provide visual concepts of infrared heating as well as tips for outdoor comfort. Send your request into designs@patioheat.com for your personalized recommendations. Our one-on-one customer support helps you make the best decisions for your applications. We strive to earn your business. Visit our patioheat.com website for sales and more information. Now let's get heating. All right, so we have this residential covered patio area. We have basically I have a seating position over here and a dining position over here. It could be different from that, so let's go ahead and just look at how we might heat up these two areas. And so first of all, we'll go through the dimensions that I have here. So dimensions, I have a total of 45 feet by 16 foot. Now the inner dimension from the post to the wall itself, I have at 13, well, let's just call it 14. And then you can see here we have some different heights as far as the cover area here. We have 9'6" to the top edge over here to the bottom edge of this floor to the wall. And then also you can see here I have on the post, sorry, my mouse is messing up here. So the bottom of the post I have here at 8'3" and 13/16, and the top of the post I have at 9 foot, we'll call it 9'1". There's some other dimensions here in reference to the post positions. That's not too important here, but I do like to talk about the slope here. So the slope I have here is going to be about I think it's let's see here, 3/8, yeah, 3/8 to 1 foot. So it's a very small slope ceiling. However, it is sloped, so that might become an issue as far as the placement of heaters. And then also I have this eave from the rooftop here coming out at 2 foot and 1/8 of an inch. I think that's about it for right now. Inner dimensions, you can see here from the outside post to outside post, I have at 41.4. All right, let's go ahead and turn that off, and I'm going to show you a couple of different options as far as heating this position. First of all, I'm not quite sure where or if the ceiling is a covered ceiling or not. So right here you can see that I have these exposed. That might be a little bit different. I mean, we could simply put on a ceiling really quickly like that. So we'll do that here in a minute. But in any case, let's go ahead with one option. Now, all these options are going to be, they're all okay. I don't like one of them, but I'll show you that one. But they're all good options. However, placement is going to be predicated based on some of this other information I don't have. So as far as the placement of these are C-series 4,000 watt units, and you can see I have them at distance from each other. I'm going to go from center to center. And let's see if we can grab that here, center to center. I think it was 8.5 feet, something like that. But let's go double check. 7.5 feet. So that's center to center. And as far as the position of the heater itself, I have it offset slightly to the right here. So that would be centered within this total span of the distance of the slab that I have here. And again, that distance was at 16 foot there. So that would be 8 foot from the edge of the wall to the center of the heater itself. Now you can see that the heaters themselves are not sloped. The element itself, cannot be sloped, so you need to have this element level. And then the other thing you can see here with regards to the ceiling joists that I have, those ceiling joists may or may not be in the locations that I'm showing, and also this 7'6" would be the center between the post here and here. And so the heater position itself is at that 3 3/4 foot distance from the center of this distance here. So whether the ceiling joists are located where they're at or not, and if you were to use this particular unit on this application, I'm going to go ahead and get that out. So what you'd need to do is you'd need to make sure that you are meeting the clearances above the heater itself, and here we are not meeting those clearances. So what you'd have to do is, you know, simply move the heater over if this is true with regards to the placement of these ceiling joists, so that you have 6 inches of clearance on the left, 6 inches of clearance on the right, and then you have 6 inches of clearance above the heater. And you'd have to also make some sort of drop as far as the mount itself. So this, I believe, I think it's just a few inches here, but let's go ahead and double check that. I know I made this earlier and it was actually off a little bit, so let's go ahead and push this back down here. I'm going to go ahead and bring it down to the ceiling height itself, and it should be, let's see if we can get that quickly here. All right, so let's go ahead and see what that distance really is. I'm going to go ahead and measure this from this top to here. So yeah, we have it 1 foot, or excuse me, 1 5/8 of an inch. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that off again. And so what I did here is basically just made a block to keep the heater itself at a level surface. So you need to do that on all units themselves. So all right, that is this particular application. Now let's go ahead and look at, and I'm gonna move this heater back where it was, just because I want to see the ideal amount of footprint of heat, which is that 7.5 feet distance apart with a 4,000 watt unit. We have good overlapping. You could actually move it slightly to the right here or slightly to the left. I would probably say that you'd want to go to the right here, but I wanted to keep it visually, the visual aspect as well, because I want to keep it between these beams, and the distance between each other is why I have them placed like that. So you can see here with the footprint of heat that we're covering the area fairly decently. These are 4,000 watt units again. We are missing this inside edge here. That's approximately about 2 feet from here to here that we are missing. But we could move, you can see over here, we're out a little bit further. So we could move this approximately 12 inches in or out, I should say, and then we're covering the seating position much better. Or we could actually, you know, take all units and move those possibly to 12 inches in, and then our coverage is better for the distance between the post and the wall itself. So all right, so I'm going to go ahead and turn off those units. If there's any questions in reference to like the ceiling joists or beams rather, please ask me. These obviously don't work, so you'd have to have them in a position where they actually can work. And like, you know, over here we could just simply move that one over and we're still getting a nice crossover right here. But I just don't like the idea that it doesn't look uniform in the positions that would be. So all right, that is 4,000 watt C series. Now you could also change these to the 6,000 watt units and place them on, you know, place a dual unit here. This is in a colder climate, so sometimes in the year you'd probably want a little bit more heat on this position here. So let's go ahead and turn that off and look at possibly, this is going to be possibly a different type of option. However, I'm going to throw in the flush mount kit itself. So these are 6,000 watt units. These would be WD 6024s, and they are positioned in the same position here. So again, we might want to move them to the left here 12 inches or so. But there is a clearance below the heater I didn't mention before. So that is from the edge of the heater itself 16 inches out here, or excuse me, 18 inches out to the edge over here. And these are in the same position essentially, but again, they're flush mounted, so you'd have to build some sort of block around the frame itself. And then also, if there is a ceiling on there, maybe a ceiling of this type here. Let's see if I have that on here. Here we go. I think that's it. Taking, maybe some, making a fake fascia or a fake covering over here just to allow it to look a little bit better in the application. Let's go ahead and turn off the clearance below here. And, so that would be something like this it would look like. And hopefully you can see that good. Coming from a viewpoint over here, let's go ahead and see if we can do that. And look out here. So you can see that that would look something of this nature here. Again, these are 6,000 watt units. They need to be level. If they're not level, then what happens is all of the, sorry, my mouse is not cooperating today. The elements have to be level. Otherwise, if they go downhill, then the element itself will drape or droop downhill and then superheat and then break. So you need to have these heaters level. And let's go ahead and look at, so these heaters are actually in the same position as I mentioned before, that's 7.5 feet. And let's go ahead and look at the footprint of heat. You can see here, these are hotter units. They're made for a little bit higher of an application than the others. So they would be ideal if you used a control system on them, or use a duplex switch. I would say a control system would be better for an application like this, because at 3,000 watts at this height, it would probably be too cold. So a 3,000 watt unit would really not work well. However, a control system gives you the option of going from 1% to 100% on, and this would be controllable as far as its heat output is concerned. So I really like the 6,000 watt units, and again, using either the flush mount, if that's true with a finished ceiling like this, or you could use the CD 6024, kind of like what I mentioned with regards to the 4,000, which are these units here. These are the 4,000s. The CD series is the exact same dimension. It just has 2 elements. I think that would be a better application for this. But in any case, that is option 2. Let's go ahead and look at maybe a third option. What would a third option be? Maybe placing the slimline units. So these are slimline units, and this would be if the unit itself had, or I should say the property itself had a ceiling. You can mount the slimline based on this side over here, and then dropping this down, placing a spacer between here and the ceiling. But these would be again in the same location as I mentioned before, and you have good overlapping. The slimline series only has a 4,000 would be the maximum output you can get. So another thing too is I did have this off-centered 12 inches from the total distance from here to here, so it would be basically centered from here to here on these units here. But again, nice application. And one thing I didn't mention before is if in fact you needed to heat the entire space, you could add an additional 2 units here between what you have right now, and that would give you a good footprint throughout the whole entire span here. So let me go ahead and turn that off. But yes, these are slimline units, 4,000 watt, and mounted on the ceiling with a finished ceiling like this. You can, if the ceiling was not is open beam like this, you can again move them up, and we'll just go with approximately 6 inches right now. Probably a little bit less. Looks actually a little bit more. We'll go with 8 inches, and you can see the beam goes out further, but the distance for the footprint of heat isn't as intense down here as it would be for the other position here. It's a better application if the heater is at this elevation. So but yeah, you could place them between the rafter system, as long as you have again that clearance, the clearance above 6 inches all around, and the clearance below is like that. So all right, that is the third option, and the final option would be something of the nature of placing heaters all around the perimeter of the area. I have these on the ceiling because on the ceiling with a slimline unit you can change the angle to a minimum of 30 degrees as opposed to a minimum of 45, I should say a maximum of 45 if it was on a vertical surface. So let me just kind of restate that. If this bracket here was attached to a vertical surface over here, you can only change this heater to a 45 degree angle. It would not come down to that 30 degree angle, and therefore you would not get that footprint of heat right below the heater itself that you're looking for. So 6 inches on this side as well, and obviously with that extra distance that I had here, we're not going to be hitting below the heater itself unless we moved it out a little bit further to engage that 18 inches of clearance here below. So if we change that angle, that is. You could do that if I showed this moving this over, we'll just go slightly, just to kind of look at what it would be close to. Let's go ahead and make these whoops, sorry about that. Let's try something else, and I'm going to go ahead and change the angle on this so now you can see how that would look. And let's see if I can get this. So I'm just going to go with it. Nope, hit the wrong spot here, and try this again. I'm going to go with maybe 10 more degrees down, so now it would be 20. So let's actually go with 20 degrees, and I'm going to go ahead and go with the full 30 so they're pointed actually straight down to the ground, and we're meeting the clearance here to the edge. Let's go ahead and look at that footprint of heat. You can see here now we're hitting the whole entire patio on this side over here. I know I didn't show that, but I will here in just a minute. But with 4 units here, we're getting a very nice footprint of heat throughout the whole entire span. So I'm going to turn that off and just take a look at this again. Also just note, at the elevation change, these heaters are going to be a little cooler than this position right here, but it should not make that big of an issue at all. So, but with a nice overlapping here raise, 4,000 watts would be a very good application. I should say it's a total of 16,000 watts, 4,000 on each heater, and that would be a good output for this position here. Let's go ahead and change that back to what I had it before, that 30 degrees here, and we'll go ahead and look at that footprint of heat here. You can see we're really missing that inner edge over here, so I think the other option would be much better. Let's see if I can get that back in there. Yeah, we'll go with this again, and well, you remember, well, you can just go back and see what I showed you on that just a minute ago. So in any case, that's a good application as well. And if I was really to say my preferred application, it would really be utilizing the 6,000 watt units, and you can only do that. Again, I have the flush mounts. You could use the flush mounts should you have the option to have a ceiling like this, and they would have to be level. Of course, you can use the 6,000 watt units instead of the option, the 4,000 watts here, but I'm not quite sure about the distance here between the beams. So that would be a good application as well. All right, well, I hope this has helped. If you're looking for some assistance with your outdoor heating application and you would like us to review your plans, please send your information into designs@patioheat.com. I'm Steve, and please tap that like button if you find this video useful. We don't advertise, not monetize. YouTube does not promote our channel in any way unless we receive a thumbs up from our viewers. We thank you so much for doing that. Have an excellent day.